the Royal Court Young Playwrights Award. This is the third in our series of 6 videos taking you through the process of writing your play. In this session, Calais Cameron is going to take you through a standard story structure. By the end of this, you should hopefully have a rough structure for your own play. This is a workshop, so there are going to be exercises to do, so you'll probably want to have a notebook and a pen or a device of some kind. When the exercise starts, press pause on the video. We've suggested how long you might want to do that for, but of course in practice it's up to you. If you're in a group, you might want to discuss it, or if you're on your own, you probably want to just press on. If you do hold the pause for as long as we suggested, the whole thing should take about 45 minutes. Remember, there is no right or wrong when it comes to writing your play. Just have faith in your own ideas and enjoy yourself.
My name is Calais Cameron, and I'm one of the Associate Playwrights at the Royal Court. And today, I'd love to talk to you about structure. For me, structure is the skeleton of any piece of narrative, whether it's TV, whether it's film, whether it's a play. It's the engine that is able to drive your ideas into the goal that you want it to, the station that you want it to pull into. And for me, the starting point would always be your Act 1, which I call world building, where we find out your who, where, what, and why. This is your opportunity to really pull us in as an audience and get us invested in your protagonist, your hero, this person that we're going to go on this epic story with. So as an artist, it's an opportunity to show us your style, your tone, who this person is, what their neighborhood looks like, how do they talk, really set them up, because what we're going to do in Act 2 is we're going to tear their world apart. So for me, one of my favorite comic books are Spider-Man. And the world building setup for that is you get a young boy from New York that's a student who's going through some hard times. He's getting bullied every now and then. You know, he's got a sweetheart that he likes and then can't get. And he's a science student and he's a nerd. You know, what it does is it really sets up how this young man is really relatable and going through real human problems. Now for your first activity, I would love you to write down who your character is. What are their traits? What makes them interesting? Why do we want to follow them? What is the big thing that is happening in their world? Where do they exist? And why should I care about them? You know, what are the qualities in this character that makes them human, that makes me go, regardless of what walk of life I am, I can identify with some of the things that are going on in this person's life. Great. Now, what I want to talk about is the inciting incident. Now, this is the part where your protagonist, your main character's world is changed forever, where by the end of it, they should go off on a path that they were never planning on going on. So for instance, if we keep with Spider-Man, it's the moment where he gets bitten by a radioactive spider, and he now has to figure out what he's doing with himself. If we're talking about Romeo and Juliet, it's the part where 2 warring families come together and Romeo and Juliet meet and they fall in love. And if we're talking about something like Macbeth, it's the part where he comes back from this major battle and he's trying to get home and then he encounters the witches. That again changes his path forever. Now, think about what the inciting incident is in your story. Think about what it is that happens to your character that sets them off on their journey. Now we're going to talk about the rise in action. In this section, your protagonist or protagonists are trying to figure out what they want and how to get it. And usually what might happen is we'll start to introduce an antagonist, a person that is going to try and stop your main characters from getting that goal. And what would happen is there will be a series of events where you will see these characters trying to figure this out, trying to become better, and trying to figure out ways that they can confront this antagonist head on. Some examples would be Romeo and Juliet and the obstacles that they come against with their families not wanting them to be together or be married. Another example would be something like the Avengers and the moment where they finally find out that Thanos, you know, is the big bad guy and they have to find a way of coming together despite all of their personalities being completely different. You know, it's the moment where there is an obstacle and your protagonist tries to figure out a way around it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to write down what your character wants, what or who is trying to stop them, and how does this build their character after every single attempt. Great, now we're going to talk about the climax of the play. Now this is the part where your protagonist, your lead character, confronts their antagonist head on. Now think about how you want to do this. A lot of the time it's a big fight, but it also might be a conversation. There's various different ways, depending on what your play is about, the style and the tone of your play, of how you want to finally have these two opposing forces come together. Examples would be Romeo and Juliet in the tomb coming up against the oppression from their parents and their families and going, we're going to have to take our lives. An example would be the Avengers finally coming together to fight Thanos or Ultron, or it could be Macbeth finally coming head to head with Macduff. Now take some time to write down what the finale is like in your story. Where is it set? Who is it with? And what does the confrontation look like? Is it a fight? Is it a discussion or an argument? Take some time to really look at that and note that down. Now let's talk about the resolution. This is now the end of the play. What was the conclusion of the climax? What was the fallout? Who won the war? And where does your character, your main character, end up? You know, what you really want to do is set up a place for them where it feels almost like they are ready to go into a new play because they are so changed by the events of your story. Now take some time to go away and really think about what your resolution will be and where your character ends up at the end of the story. Now, with the time that we've got left, take some time to go back through the whole entire structure. Have a look at what you like, what you don't like. Look at the journey of your main character, your protagonist. Look at how it goes through the whole entire piece and make sure that it's fluid. Make sure that you're happy with it. Discuss it with your teacher, discuss it with your mates, and have a go. Have a go building that world and write your first scene.